Hi guys, welcome back. Is Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro too expensive? And what happens when people lose their job and lose their insurance? Are they going to be out of luck and gain weight like crazy? Today we're going to hear a story of a woman that can't really afford her Ozempic anymore. You sound kind of like a talk show host today. I apologize. Meet Hella Bella. The name of her video is I'm Quitting Ozempic. Let's hear what she has to say.
Hey guys, this is Hella Bella, and this is going to be my last Ozempic update video. As the post-it note says, I quit. I took my last shot last week, and I talked with my doctor. I've got a plan going forward. I've got some actually kind of exciting new updates to talk about in this video. I'm going to go over kind of the pros and cons of this medication as well that were the reason that I finally decided to stop taking it. Just for a little bit of background information, I have been on Ozempic for right at 10 months. So I've seen pretty slow weight loss. I've lost about 1.5 to 1.6 pounds per month. And one of the bigger issues was that I was starting to have some unexplained stomach pain. And I've gotten to the point where I cannot justify the cost anymore. It's costing me around $400 a month to take this medication. So I wanted to explore some lower cost options when it comes to weight loss medication. And so we're going to get into some different things in the video about kind of how I'm going to proceed going forward. And I did talk to my doctor, and they said that it's fine to quit taking Ozempic. I can taper off if I want to, but since the medication stays in your body for a couple of weeks, I think it said 4 to 5 weeks after your last dose, body's kind of going to be tapering off of it anyways. So I am going to, kind of monitor things, but I think for right.
Would you be willing over a course of 10 months to spend $400 a month if it was only going to help you lose about 1.5 pounds per month? What's interesting is so many people lose so much more. Her numbers are basically what the commercials claim, that, it'll help people lose around 15 or 20 pounds a year. That's about the rate that she was losing it at. But I don't think I would want to pay $400 a month for that either. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments.
Right now, that's going to be fine to just quit taking it. So the major reason that I'm quitting Ozempic, I guess, is financial, but also in terms of sustainability. I just can't continue to justify paying this much money for this drug when I know that my insurance is never going to cover it, and there's not going to be an opportunity for me to stay on it and have it covered. I've spent over $2,000, I think probably closer to $3,000 on this medication. And it's been incredibly stressful trying to figure out where to get it. There's always going to be shortages. There's been several times where the clinic that I get it told me that they were out and I would have to come back. I'm also at the point where I'm having to get it weekly. They do not give me the injections to take home. So it's just been a little bit frustrating to kind of be able to maintain being on this medicine. It's a little bit more work than what I would like it to be, especially considering, you don't want to have to think about something constantly. One of the things that I love about Ozempic is that it has really removed that feeling of constantly thinking about food for me. So I'm a little bit worried about how my appetite is going to act. But my overall decision, I guess, is one, financial, but also just availability. A little bit about the barriers of having to go to the clinic once a week has been really frustrating. And also the unexplained stomach pain. So I had some pain like right below my ribs on my left side, and I wound up getting an ultrasound and they didn't see anything, and then they actually sent me to get a CT scan and they didn't see anything. And so I'm kind of left wondering, like, what is causing this stomach pain? And I know that Ozempic can cause pancreatitis, and it can also cause like numerous GI issues and gut issues. And I really kind of want to get off of it to see if that is what's causing me this stomach pain. So I can't point to Ozempic specifically to say that this is causing me stomach pain, but the only thing I know to do is remove it from the equation and see if the stomach pain goes away at this.
I think that's super duper smart, right? She's a little freaked out about it. If you remove the drug, maybe that pain will naturally go away. If it doesn't, obviously she needs to get it checked out, because whenever there's an obstruction, that can be very dangerous. What's scary about people that are on injectable medicines is I think they want it to work so bad that, based on the videos I've seen, it looks like a lot of them kind of just try to kind of power through the pain that they're feeling, when they should be probably sharing that with their doctor. If you're feeling these weird stomach pains, make sure you let your doctor know just in case it's something important.
This point. My doctor is planning on setting me up with a rheumatologist. I did go and see the hematologist because some of my blood work was coming back very abnormal, very high white blood cell count. My body was literally acting as if someone's attacking it. And just for context, I do have chronic back pain, so I've had a lot of issues with pain daily, and I think that's one of the reasons why my blood count was so off. Just having all these other issues going on has sort of complicated being on Ozempic as well. But for the rheumatology referral, they are going to try to figure out if I have some kind of autoimmune disease or some kind of chronic disease that is causing me to have these issues, because I've always felt kind of off when it comes to energy levels. And it's been something that has been just, I guess I've gotten used to it, but I always get tired around 2 or 3 o'clock, and I've always had issues with, just feeling tired after I've slept a full night of sleep. So I'm hoping that this consult with the rheumatologist will be good. The hematologist told me that there is, no cancer or anything like that, which was a huge relief because I had to wait 2 weeks to get the test results after they told me that my levels were all elevated and something was going on with my blood. So it was kind of a stressful couple of weeks, but I'm really happy to say that I don't have anything major like that going on. And since I had that CT scan, I guess they have ruled out any kind of like growth or anything. And I actually just learned that the most common reason that people go to the emergency room in the United States is for stomach pain, because there's so many different reasons that you can be in stomach pain. There's a lot of organs in that area, and there's just a lot of different causes it could be. At this point, the pain is not crazy. It's not causing me to go to the emergency room or anything like that. It's more or less just unexplained, and it just kind of is making me uncomfortable. So we're going to continue to explore that. But in terms of the Ozempic, I did want to get off of that to kind of see if that helps with the pain symptoms. So a lot of people come off of Ozempic and they say, oh, I gained all the weight back or something like that, or they say that their appetite came back crazy. And I was concerned about that. I know a lot of the habits that I've been doing while I'm on Ozempic have been habits that I've always had, such as like tracking calories and being pretty active. I always go to the gym a couple times a week or walk outside with my dogs. So I wasn't, super worried about the weight just falling back on, because my appetite suppression from Ozempic has started to kind of go away. And that was also one of the frustrating things about paying $400 a month for something that wasn't really working as well anymore. The appetite suppression was the main thing that I felt like helped me, because I always kind of have thoughts about food. I've had problems with binge eating in the past where, food would just be in the forefront of my mind all the time. And I'm happy to say that I really haven't binged in probably over a year at this point. Getting my mental health in order and things like that have really helped as well. And just being in a more calm and controlled environment definitely helps. But I think that what I'm going to do going forward might surprise some of you. And I hope that, you guys don't judge me too harshly for this. I am going to start taking Phentermine to continue my weight loss journey and also to help me with the appetite suppression. So I did talk to my doctor about it, and I was kind of like, is there anything else that we can try? Is there anything that is covered by my insurance? And the cool thing about Phentermine is that it costs $10 a month instead of $400 a month. So while it does not have the same physiological effects as Ozempic or Mounjaro or Wegovy, it is a fraction of the cost, and I know that it's an effective drug, and I've taken it in the past. I do have some videos about taking it. One of my videos was like my first month on Phentermine, and then the other one was like why I don't recommend Phentermine, and I just want to give you some backstory to that. So I took Phentermine when I was like 24, and I had a bad experience where I had like some panic attacks, and I was having a lot of anxiety on it. And I think part of the reason was my anxiety was not being managed. Now I take anxiety medication, and another reason for it, I guess, was like I wasn't in the best place mentally to begin with. So, that kind of contributed to not doing that great on the Phentermine. But I do want to give it another try, and I think that the cool thing about just learning and growing as you get older, is you can change your mind and you can change your approach to things, and it doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. So I'm going to kind of see how this goes. I'm under the supervision of a doctor. I'm going to be having monthly appointments with the doctor, and they're going to go over, different things like my labs. I had to get an EKG done in order to be on phentermine, because one of the things that it does is it speeds up your heart rate. And I also think I had blood work done from them. They said that my A1C level was 5. The last time I had it checked, it was 5.2. So that is coming down a little bit. So that's encouraging for me to continue losing this weight. I do have some pictures of me, I guess, that are before and after pictures from Ozempic that I wanted to.
I would not even know that the person on the left is these two girls on the right. I would not know these are all the same person. They all look different to me. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. She definitely looks a little smaller on the far right and stuff. I don't know. When I listen to her, she sounds like she's got a good head on her shoulders. It sounds like she does the homework about the different drugs. If you've taken the phentermine before, or if you know anyone that has and you know a little bit about it, maybe share that with us in the comments. Let's see how she finishes up here
To share with you all, because after 9 months I've lost 16 pounds, and it doesn't seem like much to most people, but I am only 5 foot tall, so it really shows. And I feel like just seeing these pictures gives me the motivation, I guess, to continue and to not be ashamed of being on a weight loss journey and needing medication, because if you had any other illness besides being overweight, you could get medication and nobody would say anything about it. But
Ooh, so I totally agree, but let's add that 16 pounds back onto that body, right? I don't think that's somebody that's really, really huge that needs to take medications. Maybe I'm seeing things differently. Maybe some of you girls just assume because you're 5 foot, 5'2", that, 180 pounds or something is something horrible that you can't work with. I think we could still help you lose 20 or 30 pounds in 3 months just by walking with us, drinking water, and avoiding sugar. And I just wish so many more of you would. I agree with her completely. I would not want to pay $4,800 for 10 months of taking a medication that only helped me lose 15 pounds. But at the same time, it looks like if she loses another 15 pounds from where she was in those pictures, it sounds to me like she would be at an ideal weight. I feel like sometimes people think they need to lose 150 pounds. And the truth is, if they only lost 15 or 20, they would probably look like a completely different person.
for some reason, when you take medication for being overweight, everyone has to chime in and say, you're doing it wrong, or, you need to do it without the medicine or whatever. So in my opinion, it's between you and your doctor, and if you can afford it and you can sustain it, that's your business. Switching from Ozempic to phentermine, I think, is going to be different in terms of my energy levels are probably going to be better. Having the chronic pain and the fatigue, I think, is something that really limits me in terms of what I'm able to accomplish every day, because if you're starting out with the full bar of energy, like most people, I start out with probably like a half bar of energy, because I wake up every day in pain and I go to sleep every day in pain, and it's really not an exaggeration at all. I've kind of come to live with it, but it's really not something that I would wish on anybody. But with that being said, I think that the phentermine is going to help me with my energy levels, where Ozempic really only helped with appetite suppression. So I would expect to be, losing weight the first couple of weeks on this drug, especially when you start a new drug. You're definitely, you're going to see the most effects. I know when I first started Ozempic, I had like no appetite at all. I'm going to continue eating 3 meals a day and counting calories and staying active and pretty much doing all the things that I've been doing before. I'm just switching from Ozempic to phentermine.
Okay, so we'll stop it there. If you guys want to check out Hella Bella's channel, I'll make sure I link it in our description. I think she's got a good head on her shoulders. She strikes me as the type that's doing her homework. And since she's taken phentermine before, she'll know right away if she dislikes it. If you want to follow her story, go check out her channel. I think that she would do a great job just by walking with us every day. But then again, maybe she already is doing that. With that being said, go grab your shoes. Guys, let's go for a walk. Hey, if you're new to Walk Talk Vent, we have a couple of rules. The first rule is we walk every single day. The second rule is we drink water all of the time. The third rule is we avoid sugar like the plague. And the fourth rule is if you miss out on any of the first 3 rules, we observe the 2/3 rule, which simply means that you observe the other 2 rules that you haven't broken. I can do this, you can do this, we can do this, let's do this. And if you are new, we're starting another 90-day challenge in just 3 short weeks. So stay tuned and start doing your food audits now. Good morning, Venters. I hope you're having a wonderful Memorial Day. Of course, you'll be watching this on Tuesday, but it's Memorial Day for me today, so I felt like wishing you Memorial Day twice. Yay! I wanted to talk with you guys about a phenomena that a lot of us notice when we get weighed at the doctor's office. A lot of us will notice that our scale at home may be a little bit more kind than the scale at the office, at the doctor's office. And the reason I mention that is I weigh 3 pounds more on my digital scale than I did on my old school scale. And so what that tells me, because it's a consistent 3-pound difference, what that tells me is that even though I'm weighing in at 172, 173 on my digital scale as of this morning, which I'm really excited about, but on my traditional scale, I'm weighing in at 170. Now, why is that important to me? Because my first couple weigh-ins were not on the digital scale. They were on my old school, traditional scale. And my old school traditional scale weigh-in, if you guys remember, was in that 184, 185 range. Well, if I go by the digital scale now, then that means when I weighed in originally, I probably wasn't 185, I was probably closer to 188, which means right now my weigh-in today of 172, 173 means I've probably lost a little bit closer to 15 pounds, and I have according to my traditional scale, because today and yesterday I weighed in at 170. And you guys know my original weigh-in was that 184, 185-ish. So here's what I'm excited about. If you count the days left in this 90-day challenge, I believe we're down to 17 or 18 days, okay? That might seem like an impossible amount of time to lose another 16 pounds or so, but it's not. What'll happen is as you start losing weight, at least for me, because keep in mind, everyone's different. So if this doesn't exactly happen for you, do not get discouraged. But now when I'm walking, I am no longer that 185 pound or maybe potentially 188 pound guy. I am now the 170 to 173 pound guy. That's significantly less. That puts me down a couple of weight classes, right? And so now when I walk, I naturally walk a little bit faster. Now when I eat, I can naturally get full on a little bit less food, right? And I'm already over those hunger pangs and those cravings that I get. We've been taking care of the 7:30 Club now for going on 2 weeks. And I just have a feeling that on day 90, I'm gonna be really close to probably 165 pounds, okay? So not quite where I wanted to be, but I urge you guys, if you go back to my first couple of videos, I said that in my case, a lot of times I'll lose quite a bit of weight between day 90 and day 100. So I'm really excited to let you guys know that even though it might come across to viewers like I'm a little bit behind schedule, on the contrary, I actually think I'm right on schedule, so I'm really excited about that. And what that tells me is that more than likely you guys are right on schedule too. So let me tell you what's gonna happen if you keep chugging forward, doing the things that we preach on this show. What you're gonna start to notice is that over the next month or so, now keep in mind, this is if you're on day 72 or whatever day I'm on, okay? Once you start getting up there close to day 90, day 100, you're gonna start dropping weight like crazy, because I want you guys to think about something. Almost every single diet where people were predominantly walking, most of them start to see a real difference around month 3, 4, and 5. And a lot of them did it without hardly any dietary changes. So in your case, you've been trying to change your diet. In some of your cases, you guys have been doing weightlifting and weight training. That means that in addition to losing your fat, you're probably gaining quite a bit of significant muscle mass. Your muscle is so much more efficient than fat. Muscle has the ability to burn a little bit more calories while you're sleeping. So the good news is, guys, we are not behind schedule. We are right on pace. For people that are a couple of days ahead of us, like GL and Lily, guys, you're gonna notice that around day 90 to day 100, you're gonna really start to feel like a brand new, well-oiled machine when it comes to not only walking, but just the way your body starts reacting and starts losing weight. For some people, especially if you started off in a medium weight, which I would consider my starting point medium, right? I was 185-ish pounds, a little bit chunky, right? But not by any means up there at 300 or 400 pounds. So if you were able to catch yourself and get into this routine, you're probably going to have results that mirror mine. And those are excellent results, because let me tell you what's going to happen, I believe. I believe you're not only going to hit your goal weight of, let's say in my case, 155 pounds, but what's going to happen to you is the same thing that happens to me every time I do this. You're actually going to go beyond your goal weight. And you're going to have to ask yourself, do I want to really get this small? Now, for some of you women, you're thinking, holy moly, I want to smash through my goal weight and get even smaller, right? But for guys, it's not that way. So remember, even though women love the idea of becoming high school skinny again, not all of us guys do. There's a lot of guys like me that for whatever reason, when they were in high school, they just couldn't gain weight worth a darn. And for someone like me, I don't want to get into the 140s. So I'm saying this to everybody. This plan of mine, it's not really a plan of mine. I'm sure people throughout history have done all three components just like I am, right? I really doubt I created a wheel. I think I'm just using the wheel they created, right? So the reality is, guys, we're going to start losing weight like crazy. Like mad, if you will. And I'm excited. I think that's something where we should rejoice. Think about everybody that you saw that was doing walking routines. It was almost like no matter how yummy their oatmeal breakfast was, or how much they swore up and down they didn't change their diet, they just kept losing weight like crazy regardless. The one gentleman that we heard the other day, I forget his name, I think it was Cooney was his last name, right? Wayne Cooney? I think that's his name, or Wayne Kuntz. If you guys remember, he was almost giddy from the idea that he didn't even really feel like he did much to deserve it. He just walked and it was that easy. So guys, we've done the tough part, and it makes me really happy, because yet again, my body is starting to respond the same way it did when I was 42 and the same way I did when I was 38. It's just one of these things that happen. And I'm so excited. So I want you guys to know that it wasn't BS, it wasn't make-believe, it wasn't wishful thinking. I could say it was hypnosis because I had to talk some of you guys into it, but I think it was just being down to earth and telling you guys that, hey, you know as well as I do, you need to be active, so we walk. You know as well as I do, we need to cut out the sugars, so if we get rid of the liquid sugars like sodas, you're gonna have success, so we drink water. And then the final frontier for most of us, because we've been addicted to sugars our whole life, the final frontier, if you will, is one in which we ditch the sugars, or at least lessen their impact by ditching some of the sugar, right? And hopefully this Memorial Day weekend,
hopefully when your daughter busted out the cupcakes, right? Because everybody seems to have cupcakes with an American flag on them on Memorial Day. Hopefully you have a situation where you can, maybe only have one cupcake rather than 2 or 3. And at the end of the day, when everybody's taking home treats, maybe you and your spouse can ditch the idea of taking home cupcakes, right? So I'm just really excited. I'm really happy for a lot of you guys. If you're a couple weeks behind us, just know in the upcoming weeks and months, you're gonna have some major weight loss happening. I'm not doing anything special, but I do extra credit. This past week, I've been going to the gym and basically on the treadmill, I've been walking an additional, let's go this way, I don't want to hear that junk. So I've been walking an additional half hour at the gym. That's it. The only reason I did it at the gym is because, it's nicer to do it in a 70-degree building than it is in the 100-degree heat. So extremely happy about it. There's a family of walkers right there, husband and wife team. So yesterday, one of the downfalls of the GoPro cameras is they tend to get really hot with regards to the battery temperature. And so what'll happen when you have a 80-degree temperature outside, which is pretty warm, and you combine it with a battery that gets ever increasingly hot, you'll have a situation like I did yesterday where your GoPro just turns off. So if you're ever watching and you notice that it seems like there's so much more to my walk left, but it ends abruptly, it's usually because the battery said, I'm too hot, and it kind of has a kill switch or a turn off so it doesn't burn up the camera. If it ever does burn up the camera, I will drive down to my closest Best Buy or something, see if I can get a camera overnighted or something. But if that ever happens, let's not even think about that. Let's knock on wood that never happens. But yeah, guys, so I'm really excited. Every day I'm on the scale, it's getting a little bit less now. I thought this stuff would happen at the beginning, but this just goes to show you that you can learn something new every day. One of the things that I learned about myself by letting myself get a little heavier than the last couple times that I caught myself, because the last couple times I caught myself, guys, I was 175. In other words, I was starting closer to the weight I am now. Now, I had to battle my way back to this start point. But here's the interesting thing. Once the scale starts to tip in your favor, it doesn't stop. So trust me, one of the best signs that you can have is if you start crawling up into the not just 2 or 3 pounds of weight loss, but when you start crawling up into the 7, 8, 9 pounds of weight loss. Because here's what my thinking is. You're always going to have a plus or minus rate of 3 or 4 pounds because of water weight, right? Depending on how much water is in your body at any given point, you're gonna have a plus 3 or 4 pound margin on your weight. In other words, it might show that you weigh 185, but in reality, you might still weigh 188 if you were fully hydrated, okay? But what that means is that's 2 or 3 or maybe 4 pounds. When you get to the point where you've lost 10 pounds, what that means is that you've legitimately lost 5 to 7 pounds. That other 3 pounds, we can give that up to water weight, but we're not going to give up all 10 pounds of your growth or your shrinkage. That's what she said. We're not going to give that up, okay? So I just want you guys to know, amazing things are going to happen. If you started this journey at 200 pounds and now you're 190, you've lost a weight class. You're no longer looking at this from a heavyweight point of view. You're now a cruiser weight, okay? We're going to get you down to a middleweight, right? These are boxing terms, and no, I'm not a huge boxing fan, but I know that underneath the heavyweight, you have the light heavy and the cruiser weights, right? So we're slowly but surely going to get smaller and smaller. But guys, the scales have already started to tip in your favor. This is where things are going to start happening. Now, let me tell you what happens in real life if you don't have a Jesse in your life. In real life, we lose 5 or 6 pounds, and then the next day we step on the scale and we don't realize that 3 or 4 of that loss was due to water weight. So we step on the next day, and instead of losing 5 or 6 pounds, we realize, oh shit, I've only lost 1 or 2 pounds. We get discouraged and we quit. But now that I'm telling you that once you start losing 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds, guys, you're officially a different person. You're still big, you're still overweight, you're still not where you want to be, but this is not the time to quit. It's the time to continue. And you want to step on the gas for the last month because it's a challenge. But at the same time, even if you didn't step on the gas, even if you just kept doing what you're doing consistently, you're gonna start losing a lot of weight, okay? Now let's talk real quick about self-sabotage. You don't want to start rewarding yourself for being 10 pounds less by reintroducing your nightly, dessert. You want to make sure, we just had 4 old school airplanes fly by. They must have been flying over a sporting event of some sorts because they're in formation. Looks really cool. So anyway, back to what I was saying, guys. This is important that you hear this. You look at the scale and you say, oh my goodness, I've lost 7 or 8 pounds, I'm failing. No, you're not failing. You're right on schedule. You're going to continue to lose weight through day 90. And then for day 90 to 100, you're going to really start to realize that, oh my goodness, none of my clothes fit anymore. My shoes are getting beat up. I've been wearing them for the past 90 days of walking. Okay, go reward yourself by going to the store and buying a new pair of shoes. And whatever size you are, try on shoes, because I'm telling you, you very well could have lost a half size on your shoe size because your feet have lost some weight too. Your rings on your fingers, you might need to go get some guards so that your rings don't fall off your hands, okay? So these are fun things that we can chart, and we can see that, hey, I'm able to pull my belt to the next loop. I legit am losing weight. And you're not just going to sit there and lose 5 or 6 pounds. This next 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to start losing 2 pounds probably every week or so. So guys, you have made it past the difficult part. The most difficult part was getting your routine set. You have that now. If you miss the morning walk like Imogene did, Imogene, it's your first mention here, do what you're doing. Try to see if you can bust out a 15 or 20-minute walk during your lunch period. And Imogene, I'm sorry that you're working on Memorial Day. That just goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, feel happy for people when they're having a good day, but feel empathy for people when they have to work on a day when we don't. We're so lucky, Imogene, you're so unlucky. Imogene, you're actually very lucky because you're starting to realize that at lunch there's no reason why you can't take a little walk and kill some calories. Imogene, you're a cholesterol killer. Keep up that work. She's a cholesterol serial killer, killing as many cholesterol as she can. Good job, Imogene. Now watch, Lily's gonna say, go Imogene. Keep it going. So yeah, guys, it's the real deal. I never fibbed to you once. This is one of those things where if you look at my first upcoming videos, I tell you that many of you aren't gonna see any change until day 45 to day 60. What does that mean, Jetchy? Well, Bob, it means that literally some of you won't see any change until day 60. How difficult is that to want to maintain if you usually quit diet and exercise plans? But if you've stayed with me to this point, and you're getting to the point where you're passing day 60 and you're getting into day 70 and beyond, this is when your hard work is gonna start paying off. All I needed to do was get you here. You're here. Let's move forward. We've got literally, 18 days left. During this 18 days, I'm expecting to lose another handful of pounds. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put up a video that shows my before and after, but it's gonna most likely be a failure video. You know, how I didn't quite lose 30 pounds. But then my goal and my game plan, so my viewers know in advance, is I'm gonna have that 90 to 100 day, picture as well. So at day 100, I'm going to hopefully let you guys know what I'm weighing at that point. And by day 100, I should actually have that full 30 pounds down. And if I don't have the full 30 pounds down, trust me, I'll be in that 23 to 27 range. That's what I'm guesstimating. But guys, that's not really a fail, is it? That's actually very much a hell yeah, we did it. So remember, when you're shooting for 30 and you hit 26, you didn't fail, you kicked ass. And once you start losing that much weight, you're no longer dropping from a heavyweight to a light heavyweight. You're dropping from a heavyweight to a middleweight, okay? And as a middleweight, every walk is going to be that much more productive. When you're struggling with your push-ups, guys, because I know some of you are doing some push-ups, you're going to notice that when you drop 20 or 30 pounds, not only can you do 1 or 2 push-ups, but you're probably going to get to the point where you can do 10 push-ups, maybe even more, okay? In a lot of diet and exercise plans where they drop a significant number of pounds quickly, in those diet plans, there's one drawback. They lose a lot of muscle and their skin starts to get really saggy and stretchy in excess, right? But when you walk and you're building muscle and you're eating well, you're just walking and burning off calories and avoiding sugar, your muscles tend to show. They don't disappear. They actually look bigger, okay? I don't know if you guys can tell, but when I'm flexing my muscles, I'm starting to see muscles that look bigger. I don't know if you can tell when I do my goofy flexes during the show. But the moral of the story is this is time to rejoice. Things are going perfectly in our direction. Even though you might think, oh my God, I've only lost 6 or 7 pounds, don't worry. That 6 or 7 pounds tells me that you're really right on pace. And remember, even though we're doing a 90-day challenge, we're not stopping. So what that means is that Mala, some people are going to start to see that change on day 94, right? Lily, some people are going to start to really see something amazing happen around day 100. And some people, like the people we followed that literally just started walking, sometimes that day is going to happen a little bit closer to month 5, which 30 days per month, that's going to be around day 150. But guys, look how fast the last 70 days went. They went like that. Over the next 70 days, because we're getting older, I have to assume the days are going to go by even faster. And you're going to lose even more weight, okay? Now, right now, I just felt my camera. It's feeling warm, so don't be surprised if this thing cuts out. And I wanted to tell you guys the story today about Robert Hale Jr. The University of Massachusetts at Dartmouth had their commencement ceremonies, and he went up and gave everybody $1,000 for graduation, $500 for them, and $500 for them to pay it forward and give to somebody or a charity. I thought that was really awesome. The reason I didn't talk about it from the beginning of our talk is for some reason I think I told you that story last week as well. But it finally popped up on the Good News Network, which means I beat the Good News Network to one of these stories, but they had it on Good News Network today. It really is a beautiful story. What I didn't know is that when Robert Hale first started his business career, he actually is one of these guys that in 24 hours, he lost over $1 billion. So he actually started off his business career from a little bit of a failure standpoint. And so he urged the graduates at UMass Dartmouth not to judge every little failure that they went through against them, because failure is how we grow. Jesse, what does that have to do with us? You guys have been failing at diet and exercise plans forever. Before I succeeded at this plan, and by the way, I succeeded at this plan by accident because I just loved walking and I just wanted to see how long I could go without drinking anything but water, and how long I could go without eating sugar. So it became a fun challenge for me. And then I started noticing something crazy, that after 60, 70, 80 days, you start to literally lose your fat and your abs start to show. And even though I have this weird pooch that I've gotten since my surgery, Guys, I'm losing my love handles. I used to be able to grab a significant chunk of weight from my waist. These shorts here used to not fit. Now I'm able to buckle them without having to suck in my gut. God, I'm so excited for you guys. You guys believed in this channel just long enough for me to take you guys to the promised land. So I know you guys are laughing, thinking, Jesse, I've only lost 6 or 7 pounds. Guys, it does not matter. Sherry Ann, you have tipped the scale. This is where it starts to really take effect. But the reason I brought up my weight earlier is, guys, normally when I do this, I catch myself at 175-ish pounds. So to go from 175 down to 160, I would be 5 pounds away, right? From my goal of 155. But that goal is still going to happen. Because once you start losing 10, 15 pounds, it's weird. Your body changes. You're no longer that same person. Now, how do we get to 10 or 15 pounds? By doing nothing different than what you already are. Guys, I'm really giddy. I'm really excited about this. Listen to me. Let this go in one ear and get stuck at the other. You're going to start losing weight like crazy over these next 2 or 3 weeks, if you haven't already. Lily, when you lose 7 pounds, you know what that means? It means you're 7 pounds less than you were. You're a smaller person now. That means every walk that you do is going to be that much more beneficial. You didn't just lose 7 pounds of fat, Lily. You more than likely lost 15 or 20 pounds of fat, and you probably, over the last 3 months or so, probably gained 8, 9 pounds of muscle. Okay, so it looks like you lost 7, but you probably lost a good 10, 12, 13 pounds of fat. Okay? That muscle is going to burn a few more calories while you sleep than the fat would have. And remember, you don't sweat out fat, and you don't poop it out or pee it out. You breathe it out. So the best way to breathe it out is to go on a walk, raise your make it a little bit of a brisk walk, and breathe, right? Close your mouth, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just know you're breathing out fat. I know it sounds amazing. I didn't believe it either, but that's how you get rid of fat. So don't think I want to sit on the toilet and take a bunch of bathroom breaks. That's not going to do it for you. What that will do is help you get rid of that water. So if you want to wait till after your morning piss, to weigh yourself, heck, I've even been experimenting with that. But you want to know something? Even though the piss that you let out of your body does have weight to it, it doesn't seem to affect the scale much.